Hey guys, alright, here's another update. You can see my light this time, in my dirty glass. The top of my glass is always dirty, um, from my arm going in it or whatever, and just from me not wiping it every time I go in and out of the tank. But so, uh, a couple things that are changed is, well, for one, this a long time ago I had Rotala Singapore. That was the only red Rotala I had, and I thought I got rid of them all, because the left side is Rotala Orange Juice, Macandra Red, Rotala Ceylon, and some Rotundifolia in Singapore a little bit, and it's mixed with the green. But over here, I found, like, if you see this stem right here, this is the original stem. I found 6 stems immersed of Rotala Singapore that I still had outside in a bucket. So I planted them in here, and they were about 5 or 6 like that, and here they are. They're coming out. So, and now I have some more Rotala Singapore again. And the Amanias back here, Amania the Goldens, they're doing a little bit better, kind of, but they don't do so hot for me. I think that's because my water's not quite soft enough. Right here, look how pretty these guys are. My few Bacopa Carolinianas, they're so pretty. When they get a little bit of light, they kind of get this amber kind of a color. But yeah, so Rotala Singapore, have that again. Sorry for the camera, like usual. I made a little kind of a pathway here in the front. I have these stones, and let's see, they look like this. They're kind of a purple. When you get them in your tank, they're kind of a purple or reddish, which actually people say my light is too purple, so now they're gonna think that it's the light, but it's not the light, it's the rocks. These little rocks, they're some type of a lava. I forget what they're called, but I get them from the ADG, and they look purple and they blend with the soil. So for right now, it doesn't look like much, but I'm gonna make keep a little pathway here. I scooped out as much as I could from here and threw some rocks in so that I could have height right there and on the side, and you can kind of see how it goes up. So not much right now, but I'm gonna buy probably some Heliacaris, like the Tropica Hairgrass Mini, that stays really tiny small, and try to get it growing across in the middle. I wanted to take it out, and I thought about putting like a sand or gravel transition, but I dealt with a lot of sand and gravel mixing already in this tank, and I try to keep this so that when I uproot plants or rescape or want to do something different in here, that I can still use that I can still use the Aquasol and just shove it to the back or move it around and redo the scape whenever later. And the last time when I just did the rescape, I had a problem with stuff mixing with the Aquasol, and that kind of sucks. So I'm never probably doing this again, but this horticultural grade pumice stone that I use down here, and then I used the garden soil. I dirted the whole tank. The dirting's fine, it mixes in there, but this stone right here, when these plants get like big long roots and I pull one up, no matter how easy or soft, some of these come to the top, and then I end up with like little white pebbles like here and there, and you can either pick them out or stuff them back down with tweezers, but either way they'll keep popping up because they're always under there, and they don't stay on the bottom if you're uprooting things. So next time if I ever do this again with the pumice stone, the power sand type, I will I don't know, cover them with a mesh or something. But I probably just won't do that again. But this Rotala bush is shaved down a lot. I plugged a couple of the tops back in right here. The little red ones there are some OJ and some Macandra Reds. I just popped a couple of them back in there just to, it gives the illusion that the bush is still grown out. From here it has the illusion, but if you look, the whole thing's shaved. But I had cut them all off and just popped them back in, so I had some big random long sprigs everywhere. And I did the same thing with the aromaticas back here. I had cut them across so you can see the new parts of the lighter parts coming in. So it's going to be like a bush now, but I had some random long pieces sprouting out and some of the Walichis like that because I was selling them. So until I sold them, they were just sticking up everywhere. So it's kind of like getting a haircut and having flyaways. And got a new buse in here, this sky blue. And they look really nice. They're starting to get a little bit of color. So the buses and stuff in here, they're looking really good. And this little elevated part right here, I'm gonna keep kind of bare. I have one little fat pink crypt back here, but I don't know how well it's gonna grow. It may or may not really grow well, but the little area here, I'm just gonna kind of keep this for my blood vomits. I still love the blood vomits, but it's too much trouble keeping them anywhere else in the tank, so I'll just keep one little area for them. And I do have a tiny bit of the, the brown algae. I don't know if you can see it, but a couple little pieces on the rock. And here on this wood, you probably can't see it. Nah, probably not, but on the corner of the wood here, there's a little bit of the little brown fluffy algae, and that kind of feels like felt. But yeah, everything is trimming up pretty nicely. So I pumped up the CO2 a little bit because I was running like about 2 bubbles per second, and every time I see somebody else has a video or something, theirs is like way too fast to count, but I'm scared to pump mine up too much and it run out and me be out for like a week until I get paid or something, because a week without CO2 is worse on a tank, in my opinion, than pumping less CO2 every day. I'd rather pump a little less every day than run out and go a week without it at all. But these guys are finally really like coming in, like looking nice now. These are the Rotala Pearl Minis. They looked really raggedy before, and I worried they wouldn't bounce back. They're a bit sensitive, but they look pretty nice. The little bit of Monte Carlo they had put here, they're spreading a little bit. Right here you can see it spreading, but right here you can see how it starts. Monte Carlo for me always starts like a couple big ones. They will come up and fountain down, and sometimes I'll just clip those and plant them next to it, and you have to kind of wait for them to start to flatten out. Sometimes they will creep, but sometimes they want to like just go like one or two like this. I don't want them to come up and shower down. I want it to go flat across. So as the Monte Carlo starts creeping down here, hopefully I can put some Hairgrass Mini and just put it like here and here, like a couple of spots near the rocks here, so that it can just sort of kind of spread, and then it'll be sort of a mixed carpet. These flamingos, I'm not sure how well they're gonna do. I don't know, maybe they're bouncing back, but they looked pretty good. But after I rescaped it, they sort of like got a little crumply, so I don't know, they still look a little bit crumply. They look like they've been dried out or something. This plant has changed. My Cryptspiralis tiger, it has started to grow better this time. The last time it was barely hanging in there, but it's growing better this time. My Arcuata, I had 3 sprigs of it, tiny ones that I had saved, and I just clipped those and popped those back in, so I got a little bit of bush right there. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep them there because I know it'll try to take over the whole corner, but I got nowhere else to really put them. But that's it. Oh, and this moss on the wood here, look how pretty it's covering all this wood here. if you look in here, this stick right here, you can see it's completely covered on the end here. You see it moving right there? Right there. That's the end of the stick. So that's completely covered. It looks real pretty for now. Sooner or later, I'm gonna have to yank a bunch of it off. Right now, every once in a while, I'll take a couple of pieces of that moss that are like a little bit too long or hanging off way too much, and I'll kind of just pull them off. But that's it. Got a pathway, the aromaticas and stuff, you know, looking pretty good. I knocked down these the Hygrophila sunsets, this one right here. I knocked them down. They were starting to kind of come to the top, so I kind of gave them a little trim right here. That big red Ludwigias that I bought as a Paroensis from a local fish store, they were not Paroensis. They're some kind of big giant red Reuben or something. So whatever they were, I took them out. These little Ludwigias are these guys are the ones that I collect, that stay a little bit smaller. So I'll keep these for a little while, but I'm not real big on the regular Ludwigias, like the Repens types. I'm just kind of not too big on those. The Arcuata Repens, the Ludwigia narrowleaf back here, trying to get them to bush out. I've trimmed them back a couple of times, but they'll come back. You can see a couple of them are like a red apple color, but the rest of them are still small and green. And these guys right here, forget what they're called, Sao Paulos or something, like Persicarias. There's a little red one there, and there's one. They're kind of, they grew like giant to the top, like two or three big huge fat stems. So I just knocked them down, trimmed them off, and trying to get them to come back more as more small uniform. Then I don't want like two or three giant stems. The problem with some certain plants get like giant, fat, and lanky, and I like things to be small and together. And I prefer larger plants in front and smaller plants in back to make it look far away. So, except for that. I love that. It's like a little carpet. So, this is how things are going in here. And that's it. Endlers and everything. Everything's doing good in here. So, that's this tank for now. It's finally kind of coming into its own. We'll see how the pathway works out.